Poole Harbour, Dorset, an area of outstanding natural beauty, a heritage coastline and a wonderful place to live and work. It is here that BP operates one of Europe's largest onshore oil fields, Wytch Farm. The oil and gas has been produced here since the late 70s. Over the years, Wytch Farm has demonstrated that talented people, state-of-the-art technology, safety and environmental management can all coexist in balance and harmony. Fursy Island, in the middle of Poole Harbour, contains 2 well sites and has been producing oil and gas since 1985. Feeding the gathering station via buried infield pipelines, Fursy supplies oil and gas to the flow lines channelled under Poole Harbour itself. To ensure that the risk of pollution to such an environmentally beautiful place is minimised, the pipelines linking the mainland were laid in a protective pipeline to provide double isolation and high integrity. Back in 1984, when these pipelines were installed, a mechanical mole was used to drive a large diameter conduit or carrier pipe into the mud underneath Poole Harbour, into which the various flow lines were placed. Failure of one of the flow lines carrying oil would not itself cause damage to the environment, as the carrier pipe would protect the harbour from spillage. However, to ensure double isolation is maintained, in 2001, after years of production from Fursy, it was decided to install a new pipeline inside the largest 10-inch diameter flow line inside the conduit. This smaller 7-inch diameter pipeline would be large enough to accommodate the lower production volumes now being seen from Fursy Island after years of production decline. The innovative use of a flexible flow line was considered the best solution for this task. This video is the story of the arrival at Poole of a Coflexip liner reel and its onward journey to Fursy Island and subsequent installation. 15th of May 2001, and the mighty freighter vessel Pancaldo slips quietly into Poole Harbour. On board is the Coflexip reel being delivered from France. Eagerly awaiting delivery is project manager Richard Dobson, along with the appointed contractors AMEC.
On behalf of AMEC, I'm sure that this job is going to be 100% successful as we try to achieve in all our tasks.
Weeks of preparation have led to this final delivery date of the Coflexip reel from the Trait in France. A series of HASCON or risk assessments were conducted in close consultation with Poole Harbour commissioners and local authorities, outlining each carefully planned step of operations. A project of this magnitude requires the very best management of health, safety and environmental planning. The logistics were truly formidable. Excavation work at the Bowden Peninsula at Wellside F, where the pipeline is to terminate, were prepared in advance. Heavy loaders and cranes were positioned, and a workforce briefed and trained in all safety aspects and each logical step. As the hatches are removed and the huge ship's cranes start to pull the reel out of the cargo hold, it's difficult to appreciate the full size and sheer mass of this Coflexip reel containing the coiled pipeline. It is dwarfed by the massive cargo ship Pancaldo, yet the reel weighs 60 tons and stands as high as a house.
The 10-inch production line is buried some 30 or so feet below the seabed in the crossing point between Fursy Island and the Bowden Peninsula, and the pipeline is also within inside another metallic pipe, a carrier. There is a single 26-inch pipe which carries all of the service lines that come across to Fursy Island, and of course accessibility to be able to do the similar sort of repairs that we've done onshore is absolutely impossible in terms of access with the water. So the only other way that we can actually enhance the integrity of that pipeline is to do it from the inside, and we're doing this by installing a flexible pipe within the existing 10-inch pipe. That flexible pipe has been manufactured by a company called Coflexip. They're located in Le Tret in France, just north of Paris, on the River Seine. And we've actually been dealing with Coflexip since about October of last year, in terms of initially selecting the product and then designing the product and manufacturing. We took delivery of the Coflexip on or around about the 14th of May of this year, and here we are at the moment in the middle of June, about to install it into the 10-inch line.
In order first to get the liner to Fursy Island, a delicate operation was required to transport the Coflexip reel from ship to Poole base and then via barge to Fursy Island. This process took many hours of safe and intricate movements of the reel. With the magic of video, we're able to follow that process now in minutes. Well, there you go, there's your baby arriving, Richard.
Absolutely.
How's it feel?
Well, we've still got a lot to do.
So far so good though?
Absolutely.
That's stage one over then, eh?
Yep, just about.
Well?
It's gone very well.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well, stage one complete, the next exciting part of this exercise was to take the Coflexip reel on another boat trip to Fursy Island. 5 AM on the 18th of May, and following the inclement weather the previous day, we were all wondering whether conditions would abate to allow the next phase of operations. Despite signs to the contrary left displayed from the previous evening, as the sun came up on a new day, conditions had changed and were near perfect for the planned sailing to Fursy Island. This time it would be the Fursy Squirrel barge that was to act as cargo carrier for the Coflexip reel, receiving its heaviest load in its working life. As part of the heavy lift operations, the trucks and trailers used for the specialised movement of the reel were brought down from Leicester. They would allow the precision movement needed to negotiate Poole's slipway and the route ahead. Slowly and surely, the reel was moved carefully down the slipway and on to the Fursy Squirrel barge. With the reel and trailer loaded onto the barge, the Fursy squirrel was certainly lower in the water than without this enormous weight. All on board, the reel was secured ready for sea passage. In scenes reminiscent of Gulliver's Travels, this mighty giant of a reel was lashed immovable to the Fursy squirrel. With activity now on Fursy at a high level, as new well laterals are drilled ready to supply oil for this new pipeline, the morning passenger service to the island is provided by the Purbeck Gem in order to accommodate the extra personnel. On this particular morning, they would witness the signing over of the reel to sea transport and would accompany the reel on its travel to Fursy.
Some load you've got on there.
Yes, certainly some weight. Close on 85 tonne for the reel.
How was she coming over?
Yes, not too bad at all. Weather in our favour obviously this morning.
So you had a good crossing then?
Very good, yeah, very good crossing.
Hello there.
Hi.
Beautiful day today for it.
Oh, it's absolutely superb, isn't it?
Yeah. Good crossing?
Excellent, excellent. Couldn't have gone better. No, we're really pleased. Just gonna get the trailer to lift up the arm, and in about 5 minutes we should start pulling it off.
Great stuff.
No, it's gone very well, you know. Excellent.
Well
Good
done.
planning, good execution. Well
Great.
pleased.
While safely grounded on Fursy Island, it was the task of the heavy load movers once more to bring the reel onto Fursy itself and position it at Wellside L, ready for its installation. Mission accomplished. One Coflexip liner safely positioned on Wellside L on Fursy Island. There was one final positioning left to do, to locate the reel on the drive mechanism that would rotate the reel to allow installation. This done, it was time to test out the reel motion. A fully functional, rotating, flexible pipeline, ready for installation. With the Coflexip reel safely located in position on Wellside L and the large crane demobilised, excavation work on Fursy could now begin. Once complete, the next phase of operations would be to run a dummy head through the pipeline to the Goathorn Peninsula. Richard Dobson explains.
The pulling head is the only solid component of the liner, and the reason for pulling the dummy head, in other words having a practice run at it, is to ensure that we haven't got any abnormalities within the pipe run itself that would cause us to get the liner stuck during the pulling operation. Today's operation gives us the confidence that we see what we've expected to see, and also to help the installation crews to get familiar with operating the winches. And hence, when we come to do the operation on Monday of next week, they should be well versed in the operation of the equipment. The main pulling wire is actually a 28mm diameter steel wire rope. We've got something like 1,500 metres of it on a 40-ton winch located on F-site. We've already achieved pulling the main pulling wire through from F-site to L-site. And we'll actually repeat that operation this afternoon, so that we've got the main pulling wire on the right side of Poole Harbour to commence the pull on Monday morning.
Working in such a beautiful environment, it would be easy to be distracted. So throughout each step of the project, safety was the key concern, with toolbox talks and discussions carried out in advance of any work being done.
Aware of it coming through, we were prepared for it coming through, and we slowed down just at that moment.
It won't cause any damage because it's been basically matched.
We have got it back, then they want to obviously get in, because we've got to get that out.
Communications too were vital to ensure the safety of personnel each side of Poole Harbour. The operation required strict control via radio to effect, with winching from the mainland being done over 1.3 kilometres away.
If you feel anything, you shout stop, right?
Find out with that. Take it in another 18 inches, half a metre.
So, on Wellside L of Fursy Island, the dummy head was carefully winched towards the 10-inch production line, connecting the mainland, and the dummy head loaded into the pipeline to begin its journey underneath Poole Harbour.
Stuart, the dummy head is now just inside the 10-inch, so I want you to mark your load monitor, zero it out, and then we'll get an exact measurement when it pops out your end, okay? Receive. I know that you're pushing away.
The whole winching operation took many hours, with the dummy head being pulled by the larger 28mm diameter wire from Goathorn and trailed by a smaller one, winched out from Fursy, that would later be used to return the main pulling wire. With time-lapse photography, we now view this whole operation. After many hours of carefully controlled winching operations, the dummy head finally emerged at Wellside F without any problems, after having travelled under Poole Harbour 1.3 kilometres. It had been a successful operation, paving the way for the actual pull of the Coflexip liner itself.
So gentlemen, first run through, successful.
Yeah,
Easy.
Dummy head.
Yeah, it's come through nice and clean. No fluids come through with it. So yeah, successful operation.
So you're confident of success now on Monday?
It gives us more confidence in terms of the pulling head on the front of the liner.
That's great. Thanks very much.
June, 1 month after bringing the Coflexip reel to Fursy, and it's finally time to install the liner itself. Summer has brought out the rhododendron flowers on Fursy Island, showing off the great beauty of this island retreat. It's not only the wildlife that are taking an interest in events today, all eyes are on the Coflexip liner as the reel is finally unwrapped to reveal its coiled up contents.
My name is Des Vincent. I'm the AMEC rigging superintendent. I've been allocated to this particular job for BP Amoco here on Fursy Island and at F site on the mainland. At this moment in time, we've got all the winching wires through the 10-inch existing line, and today it's our intention to pull the liner itself through the 10-inch line. The emphasis on safety, which is paramount on all AMEC shutdowns and maintenance work, and up to this stage of the contract, it seems that the guys have read their risk assessments, read the permits to work, listened at the toolbox talks, because we have a 100% record at the moment. I hope that continues through the rest of the tasks and the rest of the work until the job is finally completed.
So, after all the careful planning, the deployment of the liner was about to begin. To get the liner pulled from the drum initially required a large forklift truck due to the sheer size of the task in hand. As with all aspects of this job, it was necessary to think big when performing each step of operations. So, finally manhandled into position, the liner was connected to the winch cable, connected all the way under Poole Harbour to the Goathorn Peninsula. With radio contact between the two sites established, the flexible pipeline begins to be coaxed into taking up its rightful place within the 10-inch production pipeline.
Hold on.
In order to ensure a smooth movement of the liner inside the flow line, a special lubricant was applied. This helped to reduce the frictional losses involved. Inch by inch, metre by metre, the whole 1.3 kilometres of flexible pipeline was methodically deployed. In contrast to the dummy head pull, the pulling of the flexible pipeline itself was a much more intricate operation. The 40-ton winch at Wellside F on the Goathorn now had a much greater pulling task to complete. A delicate balancing operation was performed, playing out the liner from the rotary table on Fursy and winching forward towards the mainland at Wellside F.
Hi, Stuart Jackson here. We're on F side here at the moment. We're just starting up again after a small readjustment on L side.
This whole operation took many hours, with skillful control at each end, limiting the torsional strains to a minimum. Finally, some time later, and to the great relief of all, the liner had completed its journey under Poole Harbour. Winching operations for the main part were complete. The Coflexip reel on Fursy was empty. It had been a very successful day. The final winching operations took place a few days later, pulling sufficient length of the Coflexip pipeline at the Goathorn to allow for the final tie-ins to take place. At last, the end of the Coflexip liner had reached the final length of its long haul from Fursy Island. It would next be cut, ready for the last phase of handling, which would eventually see it connected to the production facilities at Wellside F.
You're nearing the end now.
Nearing the end now.
So what will we be doing today?
Well, lifting the foam that Coflex out, taking the former off the top, smacking the scantling, and then feeding back into the road, back into the cable.
We would next see just how flexible this pipe could be, as the final tie-ins to the F-site facilities required a fair deal of manipulation of the Coflexip liner. A crane was brought into position at F-site for this final step. With due consideration given to the flexible properties of the Coflexip, the minimum amount of room was spared when dismantling existing equipment at F-site. Buried cables and pipes were tied back just enough to allow passage of the liner. If all calculations were correct, the Coflexip liner would be able to bend to within its specifications to complete its journey. A close-run thing, with no room whatsoever to spare, the liner was finally persuaded to take up its rightful place that had been prepared for it. Over the next few days, final leak testing and tie-in work was completed, and the Coflexip liner was finally ready for commissioning. of July, a little over 2 months since the Coflexip reel first sailed into Poole, and the new pipeline is about to be brought into service.
We're ready now to take feed from the island. Could you open the Coflexip line for us, please?
Okay.
A milestone event. Safe inside a newly installed Coflexip liner, the oil flows.
Okay, John, got that. Thank you.
BP has fulfilled its promise to do the right things for Dorset and to preserve this beautiful environment. The logistics, the planning, the careful considerations of every aspect of the project were finally paying off. It had been a worthwhile undertaking of vital importance to the continued safe production of hydrocarbons at Wych Farm. The Coflexip liner now serves to bring new oil from Fursy Island to the gathering station, ensuring the future balance is maintained to allow the continued safe production of oil from deep within Dorset's heartland. BP is continuing to honour its commitment to the environmental management and stewardship of this landscape